Шановні колеги, доброго дня. Ми розпочинаємо брифінг.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We start the briefing about the situation with the election of the National Anticorruption Bureau chairman. And I'd like to give the floor to our speakers from Anticorruption Action Center and chairman of Transparency International. Hello, I'm Yaroslav Yurchyshyn. I'm expert on advocacy at Reanimation Package of Reforms. Anti-corruption reform is one of the key institutional reforms supporting irrevocability of the most reforms or lack of one. The fact is that neither public health or judicial reform would not be there if we cannot support them by other forms. So the National Anti-Corruption Bureau is one of the pillars to the reform's irreversibility. Many state bodies tried to fight corruption without any success, so to create a completely new institution can be a solution for anti-corruption struggle. We, the Reanimation Package of Reforms, supported the mechanism of the establishing of a National Anti-Corruption Bureau and its chairman election. So for us, as civil experts, it's not possible to see that this process is being broken. We cannot allow the people who make the legislation active with their signature to use different structure after that. So for us, it's a clear indication of the law relevance to see that the candidates selected by a commission are moved to the president. Otherwise, we can say that somebody is hindering the process to undermine the election of the National Anti-Corruption Bureau chairman and hinder one of the most important reforms. The competition is being tried to be undermined, and it will be illustrated by Vitaliy, chairman of the Anticorruption Action Center. The Anticorruption Action Center was the author of anti-corruption law. For the last 6 months, we're trying to get the chief of this Anti-Corruption Bureau. Today, the Competition Committee is holding its final meeting at 2 o'clock. I invite you to this meeting, hoping that your presence will prevent the Commission from various structures, as it used to be, because the online translation and the presence of the press was supportive to the Commission members to make the right decisions. So today we are having the final meeting of the Commission, and Commission, according to the law, can make one of the two solutions. First option is to move 2 or 3 candidates to the president for final choice within the next 10 days, or to revoke the results and proclaim the second competition. But we have heard the statements from the Commission members of the following kind. We are thinking about crossing out some candidate or add candidates who didn't pass the preliminary screening and so on. But the Article 7, Item 6 does not entitle the Commission to do anything of the kind. again, there are only two options according to the law: either choose 2 or 3 candidates or write a competition again to add anybody from the people who didn't pass the screening. Would give the rest of the candidates the right to undermine the competition in the court. Let me remind you the election procedure. We had the open competition with 180 candidates. Only 100 candidates have been shortlisted according to the formal indicators. After that, the Commission carries out interviews with all the shortlisted candidates. The first round of the interviews has finished, and the Commission have chosen 21 candidates, the best candidates. After that, they carried out the profound interview, the second interviews with every single candidate, and the Commission voted for each individual candidate. All candidates who get 5 or more votes have been shortlisted again, and on the 4 candidates left for special investigation. After this investigation, there is a special procedure added to the law for only 1 candidate. Should there be 5 or 7 candidates, the Commission would have the tool to shortlist the candidates again. There are various opinions. One Commission member has presented the minority opinion, stating that one of the candidates has not passed the investigation, the inspection, and the inspection was strictly confidential. But this is not right, because there is the right for appeal, and this investigation result cannot be confidential. Again, the Commission was entitled to choose up to 3 candidates, and they did it. There are, again, the opinion that there are some more problems with law enforcers, but again, this is not correct. It just is not possible that the candidates passed the inspection should there be any problems with law enforcers. It's just not possible according to the law. This is the brief situation. We are concerned about this situation, especially considering the fact that Mr. Zakharov, Secretary of the Commission, has mentioned the pressure from the presidential administration side and the Commission. We have seen 3 attempts to undermine the competition. First was the registration of the draft law, masking the attempt of carry out the competition again with the age changes. Next, the change that has been moved after 4 persons being shortlisted. The movement was as follows: if none of the 4 passes, the Commission should establish a second shortlist, but it was contrary to the law. And the third attempt was to add candidates to the shortlist. So we have all reasons to suspect that there is an attempt to make corrections to the competition results. But there is only one legal tool to do this, to carry out the competition second time. It's not evident that the Commission members do not leave the Commission if there are 2 months of work will become futile. We are waiting for Andriy Marusov from Transparency International, and in the meantime, you can ask questions. Please introduce yourself. I'm Vitaliy from the Fourth Power portal. If the competition is re-established, how long will it take to establish the bureau again? Well, a minimum 3 months, and this is a very bad situation because funding the Anticorruption Bureau is one of the key requests by International Monetary Fund. So the situation with the second competition will undermine the financial aid from IMF. It's 2 to 3 months. Are there any more questions, please? Oh, I have a question. When we had a presentation at the beginning of the work, Mr. Zakharov from the Commission mentioned that in case of any pressure or in case of any attempts contrary to their basics, they will leave the Commission. Do you have any information about any Commission members ready to leave the Commission? Well, in the course of communicating the Commission members, we knew that in case of pressure, they are going to leave. And this applies to the eventual attempt to carry out the competition again in an illegal way. Well, all changes, all attempts to change something are usually made to adapt the competition for some other candidates. Do you have any specific names? Well, some candidates mentioned that they took part in the competition being asked by the presidential administration. They did not try to hide it. I wouldn't say that they are under the presidential control, but they participated in the competition being asked by the presidential administration. Next. Special inspection was carried out during a month, which is contrary to the law, giving them maximum of 15 days. The Ukrainian practice shows that political will granted, it could take 2 days. So the Ukrainian citizens have been under inspection 15 times longer than the foreign ministers. It shows that neither of the 4 candidates is good enough for administration. And this mere fact indicates the current situation, and it shows that the competition has been successful. But why they're not good for the administration, presidential administration? There is a problem with the administration supporting the reforms. We all know that the Anticorruption Bureau courts should be independent, but the mainstream is to put everything under presidential vertical control. Mr. Yanukovych tried to do the same. The only difference is that he did it contrary to the law, without any possibility for the press to draw the public attention to it. Now we see the same trend, despite the pressure from our international partners, despite the requirements of the civil society to have the anti-corruption bodies independent. The presidential vertical has involved the chairperson of the Anticorruption Bureau, and we need an effective tool, not the reflection of anybody's political ambitions. Let's hope that this is just our assumption, and in 2 or 3 days we'll get the clear signal, the clear sign of us having been wrong. The president, who is personally responsible now, can move on according to the law. He can make a decision according to the law about our candidates, and in any other case, the responsibility will lie on the presidential administration against the society, against the international partners, to have the Anti-Corruption Bureau effective as soon as possible. Let me remind you how the 9-people commission has been established. There have been 3 members from the president, 3 members from the government, and 3 from the Supreme Rada. We have yet to analyze the activity and devoutness to the case. But again, I would stress that this is the first open competition being broadcasted online. If this competition is undermined, it just will kill the most important thing that we are going to have in all the reforms, the independent selection or election of the person heading the reform. If this competition is undermined, everything else will be absolutely hopeless, from the local police to the ministers. Again, today is the final commission meeting, and the results will evidently show us the path for the future. If there is no other questions, so let's be positive and finish this briefing. The